Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone podcast. My name's Kathy. It's been quite the journey down through the docket, beginning with episode 1 of this continuing series on Idaho v. Kohberger, which was literally page 1 of the first document on the court docket, which was the affidavit of probable cause. We are now almost 600 episodes in our back catalog. It's been a long journey. We are now 115 days to voir dire, which in my opinion, I find that to be the start of the trial because that's the process of jury selection. So what I'm doing on a weekly basis is just kind of looking at what's to come in the case to get us to voir dire. And our blueprint for the case, as I like to call it, is the redacted order governing further criminal proceedings and notice of trial setting. This is AKA the pretrial and trial order that Judge Hippler put out soon after change of venue back on October 9th, 2024. And if you look at this document, page 1 deals with voir dire and the start of the case in chief, jury questionnaires, and also the final pretrial conference. That's going to be held on May 15th, 2025, starting at 9 and continuing on to May 16th if necessary. And then the court has said earlier status conferences may be requested of the court and or initiated by the court. What's a status conference? That's just basically a readiness for trial where the parties come forward. Is there something that may prevent that voir dire from happening on the 30th of July? That's what those conferences are for. If you go to page 2, you're going to see a lot of things here that are familiar to you because they've already happened. The DP motions, they were entertained and ruled upon in the fall of 2024. The discovery-related motions to compel, the known unresolved ones, were entertained on January 23rd, 2025, same time as the next category, which is the motions to suppress. They've all been resolved. The only thing that's left under the motion section is the motions in limine, and they're coming up for oral argument this coming week on the 9th and 10th of April. Then if you look at the next section, section C, page 2, discovery expert disclosures, and this addressed the fact that the defendant's discovery deadline has passed. That was back on January 9th, 2025. Next section deals with all of the expert disclosures. All that's left here to conclude this segment is the rebuttal penalty phase experts, April 28th, 2025. Next, you get into trial materials, section D. Proposed jury questionnaires. Everything's been done. They've been submitted. The objections have been submitted. All that's left to do is a sealed closed hearing on the proposed jury questionnaires. It's going to be held before Judge Hippler on April 16th, 2023. The proposed jury instructions and trial briefs, they're coming up to be filed on the 14th of April very, very quickly. Objections and or stipulations to the proposed jury instructions are due by April 21st, 2025. So those are both this month. The trial briefs will be each side just putting together maybe an important memorandum, what they feel is important in the case, a brief to update the court on either side's position as they look at the case. Then we get into proposed exhibit lists. They shall be filed and exchanged by April 21st, 2025. These are the exhibit lists for trial, of course. Then we see the lay witnesses. The guilt phase lay witness lists shall be filed under seal again this month, April 21st, 2025. The penalty phase lay witness list shall be filed under seal May 5th, 2025. And the list of witnesses must identify specific individuals, not merely identify groups of people generally. So in other words, you wouldn't have University of Idaho students. You would have the names of them with specificity. One final thing, when we talk about penalty phase, that's only if there's a conviction. Then it's phase 2 of the trial. Then what is the sentence going to be? This will now conclude this episode of the Indie Zone podcast. My name is Kathy. Thank you so much for joining us here today.